Hi, everyone, and welcome to Ask Lois, the Relatable Therapist. My name is Lois Goodall, and thank you so much for stopping by my channel. This channel is all about helping you to create positive family relationships, positive friendships, and anything that's going to help you have those positive relationships. And I get my inspiration from reality TV, real life events, and anything else I think that will help me help you have positive family dynamics. And so today, I kind of wanted to talk about an interview I saw. Some of you might know who Carlos King is. He was a producer for Married to Medicine. He's no longer a producer, but he was years ago. And Quad Webb, she was, and she still is on Married to Medicine, but there's some controversy going on now. And I kind of wanted to talk about that. And so stay tuned as we talk about friendships and the lack thereof. In other words, frenemies. Do my disclaimer. This video is protected under the Fair Use Act of 1976, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. These are the people that we're talking about. This is Quad, and this is Carlos King, and these are the two people that we're talking about today because she was on Carlos King's show, I think a couple of days ago, and talked about a lot of things that were hurtful to her. And so, yeah, so I've watched Married to Medicine. I've been a fan of Married to Medicine for years. I've watched it. I think they're in their 10th year, I think, but I just watched it from the beginning all the way up until now. And what's going on now is one of the cast members is being asked to leave the show. And that's Quad. And what struck me as interesting with this interview that she had with Carlos is that she was surprised. And I was surprised that she was surprised. Because if you've been watching the show, these women have really been what someone has called mean girls. This reality show is all about doctors' wives and doctors. And so someone said that, they wanted to create a different show than just a regular housewives. And the show is very good. It really is very good. And I love watching the cast members on there. But one thing I noticed is that they are very mean and they do some of the most hurtful things. And Quad has been a part of it. And that's why I'm shocked that she's shocked that they put her off the show. And so I just want to go over a little bit of some of the things that has happened on the show. So I know at one point in the show, there was this Mariah. Mariah, she helped create the show. She helped create the show, The Doctor's Wife, Married to Medicine. And they put her, she was put off the show because her and Quad had agreement. And so they really stood with Quad. And so throughout the season, you saw they were distancing themselves from Mariah. Even when Mariah had a miscarriage, some of the cast members didn't even go up to the hospital, didn't even engage with her. So when I said they would do some hurtful things, it will be things that, and I understand that this is a reality show, and I understand they have to give information to make it interesting. But some of the stuff they did was so hurtful to be friends. To be friends with one another, they would do things that were so hurtful. And this was one that I thought was hurtful when Mariah had the miscarriage. It's a very personal thing to anyone that's had a miscarriage. And to have it looked at like, oh, well, she had a miscarriage. And not to even support her, because Mariah even said they didn't call, they didn't support me. And I know you have your disagreements, but as women, there are some times in your life where you put aside the pettiness and you say, you know what, I'm going to show up and I'm going to do this because I understand and I know how it feels. Then we had Buffy. Buffy was another member that was on the show. She decided to get off of the show herself because one of the doctors, well, I think it was Jackie, and when she was doing a presentation, she mentioned that Buffy was infertile. And then they had that whole season about Buffy being infertile. And it was like they were poking fun at her. And one person even told her, well, yeah, I had a miscarriage and you should stop crying about it. And they made the woman feel so bad. And so she decided that I'm not going to get back on that show because these women, they really tear you down. And so she only had to have one incident with them to say, no, I'm not getting back on it. And there was more incidents. And this is not necessarily in order, but it's like, as I remember. And then there was another cast member named Anila. Her house was broken into. And they just kept going on about so and so probably did it, and this person probably did it, and they were feeling bad. And Anila, she was really crying when her house got broken into, and they just kept talking about it like it was no big thing. It's like that's something horrific to have someone come and violate your home, and you don't feel safe anymore. But they were just talking about it like it was, well, and then they blamed another cast member. Now this other cast member, they blamed Toya and her husband. Her husband's a doctor. Do you know how that would tarnish his reputation, to think that he caused someone to break into someone else's house over a little spat? It was over a spat, something they had made, some type of joke about them always moving. Toya and her husband, they moved a lot, and they made a little joke about it. And so, in retaliation, Toya would have their house broken into. That doesn't make any sense. But they talked about that, knowing that this could possibly ruin her husband's reputation. But they kept talking about it. And then they were talking about when, like I said, Toya and her husband constantly moved. They made a joke about that. It's not funny when you have to move because you have tax problems, because Toya and her husband, they had some tax issues, so they had to move, and they were making fun of that. And they made so many jokes about it that if it was, any one of us, we wouldn't think that that was funny. There's another incident with Contessa. She's another cast member that's no longer there. Her and her husband, he was not being as affectionate as she thought he should be, or as attentive, and they were making fun of that. And so here you have these cast members, they have no problem making fun of people. They have no problem. The most personal and sensitive things that you're going through, they have no problem talking about it. And again, I understand it's reality TV, and you have to have some controversy or something to make people keep coming back to. But these are people that says they're friends with one another. They're friends with one another, but nothing is off limits. Nothing is off limits to what they talk about. So Quad and her husband, they were going through a separation because allegedly he had cheated on her. And so she wanted support from the women, but she didn't get that support. And I'm going to say something that my father told me one time. He said, if he asks for a steak and you cook him a chicken, no matter how good that chicken is, if it's not what he wanted, then it's useless. And so that's what with Quad. Quad wanted the support. They gave what they wanted to give, the support. And they kept saying, we did support you. But she says, no, you didn't support me. I needed this, this, and this. And instead of them saying, oh, we're so sorry, they started pointing out what she did. Well, you weren't answering the phone. Well, you wouldn't come around. But when you have a divorce, it is like a death. And I remember in that around the same time, Jackie was going through with her husband, and everyone rallied around her because he had, again, alleged cheating. And so they were all supportive of her. And Quad said she didn't feel that support. So Quad was on Sister Circle, another TV show, and she said she got that support from them. And then the people at Married to Medicine, her cast members, they were upset because they felt like she put the Sister Circle above them. Well, Quad was saying that they gave me the support I needed. You guys didn't give me that support. And so then after she had been gone for a while, she came back and she was saying that she didn't feel the support. So she said that, you know what? So she sat down with another one of the cast members to see, why don't we have that connection? And the cast member told her that, you know what? I have no problem with you. But in order to, and I'm paraphrasing, to have the other cast member like me, I have to pretend like I don't like you. And so just listen to stuff like that, and just like over the years and things that they've done. So now that Quad is on the chopping block, so to speak, Toya is launching her wine business in Napa Valley, and they told Quad that they don't feel a connection to her, and they asked her to leave. And you could see Quad was visibly hurt. And I understand that I would be visibly hurt too. But I think she was more hurt because she really thought they were her friends. She thought there was a friend, even though you had seen how they did other people over the years, but she really thought they were her friend. And I remember Maya Angelou said that when people show you who they are, believe them. And so I think the reason she got hurt is because she saw all the red flags that they were mean girls and that it's all about the money. And she did not even adhere to it. And so I just wanted to like I said, this YouTube is all about creating positive family dynamics. And the reason why I thought this was important is because this is what happens to a lot of us. We see people that are showing us who they are, but oh my God, they won't do that to me. Oh, I know they won't do that to me. I've actually had that happen in my life. Someone I thought was a very good friend, and I saw how they interact with other people, but I didn't think they'd do it to me. And when they did it to me, it was a shock. And so I just want to just go over a few things to say that when someone is a friend, these are some signs that someone is a true friend. First of all, they share personal and intimate information with you. Now, one of the cast members on Married to Medicine, they never share any of their personal, intimate information. They'll talk about everybody else, but they don't share their information. So that's a red flag right there, because if I'm sharing with you, you should be able to share with me. And that goes to the next one, being able to trust one another. If you can't share your information with me, then that means you don't trust me. And so if I can tell you my information, but you don't share yours with me, that lets me know that we don't trust each other. And that is one of the components of a good friend, is to be able to trust. Another component of a good friend is the friend is able to apologize to you. One of the things that Quad kept saying in this interview is that they want me to apologize, but no one's apologizing to me. And if we're friends, I should be able to apologize to you just like you should be able to apologize to me. Friends care about each other's feelings. When she was saying that, you know what, I feel a certain way, and those episodes, Quad would really be crying real tears, saying how she felt alone. And they were just like, okay, but you're not alone. We're here. Well, if she's saying she still feels alone, then there must be something deeper going on. And friends care about friends' feelings. Another thing with friends is they support you. They support you and they listen to you. She didn't feel like they supported and they didn't listen to her. Now, again, I'm saying these are some components of friends. There's a lot more, but these are some of them that I saw in the show with the cast members that it let me know that they really weren't friends. You know how you're on your job and it's a working relationship. These are your colleagues. And that's sort of what it's like. They're like more colleagues than they are friends, because they even told Quad, when we're not shooting, we don't see you. That's because you're not friends. Because another thing that friends do is they keep in touch with one another. They call one another, see how they're doing. They keep in touch with one another. So really, you guys are more like colleagues than you are friends. Another thing about friends is they actually care about the friendship, actually care about building the friendship. And if you watching Married to Medicine, the way they talked to Quad, it was like they weren't trying to build a friendship. It was a lot of pointing fingers, accusations. Another thing, friends, they don't make jokes at your expense. And these women, they make jokes at one another's expense. So they're saying the word friends, but actually they're more like colleagues. And in this case, they have a working relationship. And so sometimes we use the word friends and people aren't really friends. They're really colleagues, working relationship, whatever, but they're really not friends. And I think that's what hurt Quad the most, is because she's looking at that word friend and you guys really aren't friends. And so even in your personal life, when you look at, am I being hurt by this person? See, are they really a friend? Is it a one-way street? Am I doing more of the giving and they doing all of the taking? Because when it's a friend, it should be a two-way conversation. It should be two ways and more than just one. So if that has happened to you, go ahead, let me know. Let me know if you've had a situation where you thought you had a friend, but you found out they may have been a friend of me, or may have not even been a friend at all. So go ahead and subscribe, comment, and like this video so YouTube can push it out. And I really do enjoy the comments that you put down there. Put some comments. I love reading them. And here's another video that's going to help you to create those awesome family dynamics.